Scorpion Solanke and Spurs with a sting in their tail to take 2 points from title-chasing Manchester City. That was a game of two halves, as somebody once said, Jamie. It was a miserable feeling in the stadium at half-time for Spurs, who were booed off, and a miserable start to the game for them.
It was, and it's happened far too often at Tottenham, and not just under this manager, the previous manager as well. The home form is absolutely horrendous, and it reminded me a little bit of a game a couple of months ago in the FA Cup against Aston Villa, where they allowed Aston Villa just to play through them in the first half. Second half was completely different, but he ended up just going out that night. But today they got a point. But I just want to look at the sort of setup from City initially, and this has been going on for about 12 months now with City, where they're almost not playing with wide players. It's a very tight and narrow midfield, and they win the ball back from Tottenham because they're trying to play through the centre. That is not the way to try and play around Manchester City, especially now. So here's your front two, if you like, in Haaland and Semenyo, and what you've got is these midfield players. We've highlighted it a lot on Monday Night Football this season, that really tight midfield, and they allow the sort of the wide areas. But Tottenham try and play through the centre, they get caught out, and then Manchester City are away. And then this guy, Cherky, how often have we highlighted the fact that he can score with both feet? Whether Dragerson thinks he's keeping him on his weak foot, he certainly isn't. But this, you see Manchester City, you're better to play in the wide areas against Manchester City. That's always been the case. Do not try and play through the middle.
It's hard to think of a more creative player right now than Ryan Cherky. I mean, Bruno Fernandes is obviously having a great time at Manchester United, but this guy seems to light up every game he plays in. Yeah, but the defender's got to be tight. He's got to be more aggressive. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. He's been out a long time. And sometimes there's little situations like that where maybe you haven't got the sort of courage to really go after someone because you're worried about them going past you. But as I said, he's fantastic on both feet, and I'm sure that will continue to be the case. And it got worse before half-time, and a goal from City's perspective, which just looks so simple but so effective. Yeah, it's a poor clearance from Dragerson here, but again, we just highlight the actual system of Manchester City as the ball comes out, and the passing from Rodri in the first half was absolutely out of this world. So you've got the situation, as we mentioned before. There's your midfield for there. There's the goal scorer, and Haaland's just out of shot. So that is the setup for Manchester City there. But Rodri's passing, absolutely fantastic. The pace on the pass, he's always looking to pass forward. And then Semenyo, who's been an absolute revelation so far. And again, we talk about Cherky with both feet. Because of his first touch initially, means he's still got the ability to finish with his left foot. If he's just one-footed, we might look at this touch now. He almost had the option to take it either left or right, and that's how confident he is. It just bobbles up, look, he just takes his time, pauses, and because he's so two-footed... And he gets power behind him. Exactly. 12th of the season, Jamie, it's already his best season. Do you think others are ruining the fact that they didn't manage to get him over the line? Well, I am, yeah. Liverpool, obviously, Manchester United... Yeah, there's no doubt people were looking at him for a long time now. There's talk about him, obviously, with the buyout clause, maybe wait until the summer. But listen, he's gone to a fantastic club, hasn't he? Of course, hasn't he? He's made a brilliant start, Semenyo. It felt like the game was over at half-time. The mood in the stadium, the way that City were in total control. What on earth happened then? Well, life was breathed into this stadium just through upping the tempo. And it's not necessarily just with the ball, it's off the ball. And we've been speaking about a lot with Liverpool lately. It's not a situation with sort of any club. It's every club, when you think about your team playing well, there's a tempo, there's an energy, the crowds are involved. It's not specific to one specific club. And that's what Tottenham did in the second half. But what they do here is, as I said earlier on, when you've got City's set up, you play to the wide areas. So Xavi Simons here now picks the ball up. He's got all the time in the world. Why? Not because Manchester City are being lazy. The nature of the setup of City. The space is in the wide areas. And what he does brilliantly here, and the guy who we're going to have a little look now, and if they could build a relationship, that would be fantastic for Thomas Frank. He's going to make that running, but Xavi Simons can get his head up. He sees the run from Solanke, and they've obviously spoken before the game. Manchester City like to keep a high line, and they like to play offside. And that's what gets Solanke in, but he does brilliant here. The strength is fantastic, he's brave, and he gets the goal. But I want to go back to Manchester City, because we looked at this, I think, early on the season against Wolves, and I didn't like it. They conceded a goal against Wolves. The goal they conceded against Arsenal, again, is a ridiculous high line. Now, I don't understand it, because I've been in this position, and I always go back and I keep repeating myself. What I was brought up with is that
We don't play offside, they run offside. There's no worse sight in football for me when I see defenders stopping and trying to edge up inches. Right, so Mark Gay now initially, he's the first one. So he's in a position here where he can just go with the run or just match the run, okay? He doesn't need to play offside, but as soon as he lets the attacking player for Tottenham go, it does a knock-on effect. So we're going to run this really slowly. So there's Gay, he stops. So now, look at Kusanov's body position. So Kusanov's, he's next, okay? A strange body position, trying to stop and trying to play that guy offside. Then there's a knock-on effect. Look at O'Reilly. Now he stops. So you see Gay, then Kusanov, then O'Reilly, now the guy at the back post, Aït-Nouri. So they all go after one another. So Gay, Kusanov, O'Reilly, Aït-Nouri. And what happens is, if they all just take the line here, they're absolutely fine. There's no problem. So all they've gained is probably 6 inches in terms of going forward and trying to play someone offside. There's absolutely no danger. They haven't gained anything from that situation.
But does that ripple effect almost mean that by the time Aït-Nouri gets to do it, it's too late?
But people will say he played them on. What's he supposed to do? How does he know at that split second those players are going to do that?
Can he only react to the people in front of him?
Exactly. And he's always going to be a second late. There's no need to do it at all. And if I'm being honest, because I've seen it this season, and I remember how Liverpool used to play under Jurgen Klopp, I think a lot of this is down to Pep Linders in terms of trying to catch the opposition offside. If you remember even some of the great Liverpool teams under Klopp and Linders, the opposition would run through a goal every single game. But they know about that. That's why he's made that run in behind. That's why Xavi Simons has played that pass. But this has been a problem for Manchester City all season. As I said, going back to, I don't know, it was the first game of the season against Wolves.
And this is really good centre-forward play from Dominic Solanke. There's a question, though, is there a foul here? Does he kick through Mark Gahey?
Yeah, listen, you could argue that. I think it'd be really harsh to give the goal away. Take the goal away from him there. I mean, he's trying to kick the ball. It's not intentional. He's trying to make a challenge.
Does Mark Gahey not plant his foot?
Yeah. Listen. You could make a case for that, but I think the way the game was, not the way the game was, the way the goal was, and there's so many bodies there as well. I think it might have been a bit of a problem, maybe taking that away.
But absolutely no question about his equaliser, which was something very special.
Yes, it was, and it was maybe what you describe as Thomas Frank play. It was a little bit direct. There was energy to retrieve the second ball. It's poor from Mark Gahey. I think a player of his quality should be bringing that down on his chest. Nico Gonzalez loses a challenge as well. He wasn't great when he came on in the second half to try and help Rodri, but that is absolutely sensational. One of the best goals we'll see this season. As I said, Manchester City can definitely...
Great from Conor Gallagher. He always shows the desire to go and win it and then cross.
That's Conor Gallagher in a nutshell. Energy, pressing, lifting people around him.
Did you ever try this, Jamie?
No. But listen, we've seen it a few times, haven't we, in the Premier League, some of the great goals.
The Giroud one, of course.
Giroud, yeah. Mkhitaryan as well. And listen, it's great for Solanke. And also, it's probably great for Thomas Frank, because he's looking at that thinking and saying to his board, and maybe his own supporters, hey, I've been without a lot of top players this season. And that is fact. There's no doubt about that. There is still obviously a debate, and I understand the frustration of Spurs supporters around, the style of football and how they play and how slow first halves are, how poor they are at home. I get all of that, but I think he might have he's speaking to the people above him. When he gets those players back, judge me then.
Great moment for Thomas Frank and for Dominic Solanke, with apparently Thomas Tuchel watching on as well. Might well play his way into World Cup contention. Who knows? Good point for Spurs. Points dropped for City. Forest Palace to come next.
G-O-A-T, you could be the greatest of all time.